Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've not posted anything for quite a time. It's not been a great time for the last few months for me. But what we're going to do is we've got an old trailer. I've had this trailer for 35 years. Really needs a good overhaul. It needs just stripping down all the old wood out here. Framework is pretty solid. What we're going to do is rub all that down as well. But the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure this suspension. Now I think this suspension came off something like an old Morris Minor or something like that. Morris Traveller or whatever. So very robust suspension. But obviously over the years things wear. We'll rub this down. I think these are okay. But what I want to concentrate on today especially is this is the axle, and the axle has a screw thread on here. Now what happens is you've got your bearing. So I put a new bearing in here. So bearing okay. So what that does, that fits on there like that. There was originally like a lock-in washer here. That's just absolutely perished over the years, so I'm not going to put that one back on. But what we get is we get quite a large nut here, and this will screw onto here. So, and I've actually drilled a couple of holes into here just to put some pins through. Unfortunately, as I was using it yesterday, the wheel came off. So this, because there were no locking washer, has been allowed to come loose, and of course the wheel came off. That wasn't very good. But so just to explain to you how it works is, so this screw will eventually, this nut will eventually go onto here. We'll show you us tightening it down. So that will eventually go onto there. And then what happens is you've got this backing plate here, a wee backing plate with this little sub axle thing there. That goes down and that goes inside like that. You've got two grub screws there to tighten that on. We don't need to tighten that on because it's going to be it'll be held by these nuts on here. I might actually try and get something in there, and that's what holds that on. Then you get the hub assembly, and that goes onto there like that, and that's what it's eventually on there, and that's what holds it on. The wheel goes on top of that, and then it's screwed down with the four nuts there. Okay, so basically that's what's going to happen. Now, for safety, we'll take this one off. For safety, what we're going to do, because the only thing that holds this on, basically, is that nut. So, if you can see, get this off if I can. Put that one there. So you can see that this nut is the be all and end all of it. That comes off and it's off. So what we're going to do is we'll screw this down as tight as it's going to go, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my TIG welder, I think, and then I'm going to put a weld around here. So that's no longer going to come off. I'm probably going to get some maybe like a bolt type, you know, a little pin or something. Stick the pin through there, and then maybe a blob of weld there and weld there as well, so it can't come off. If I ever need to renew the bearings, I'll just have to grind it off. So that's what we're going to do. We'll show you later on when that's been done. Also, what we need to do is, we've got plates here now. Obviously these are broken, so what we need to do is take these plates off here, weld it all up before we put it back. Now I'll just let Ross show you. Just take that off, Ross, if you will. Take the plate off and we've already been at these bolts. We also used a big power bar on it, because they were quite stuck. Bit of penetrating oil first, and that's what it is. So we're going to renew that. We'll get back to you when as we're doing a bit of welding on that. Okay, guys. So I've decided that what I'm going to do first, I'm going to weld this plate together. Now, just to make it stronger, I'm actually going to just I'm going to clean it up, and I'm going to put a little V butt on it. I'll show you what I mean soon. So basically we're just putting a V on here as well. Clean up as well. That way we'll get a much better guys, so a bit of a V on that as well. Okay, then the weld is going to penetrate deeper than that V's on. I'm going to put that on the other side as well, and then we'll get welded. Right guys, so as you can see, we've actually welded this plate, and we've ground all the excess weld off there. We've just got some spring washers in there as well, and we're going to tighten these up right now. Okay, so right guys, so we're going to get this other side off as well, and just get the other bolts off. Okay. So some of these bolts are actually spinning. We'll have to clamp these things up and then get them off with a ratchet gun. Right guys, so we're getting to the point where we've got to weld this nut on. We already welded these plates here and screwed them down, got brand new bolts on there as well down here, because they were pretty knackered after all this time. So what I'm doing is, might look a bit silly this, I've got wood round here just to try and protect the bearing. I haven't got anything else, or I would put it there, probably even set on fire, but you know, if it protects the bearing a bit, it's good enough. So I'm just going to put a little run of weld on, and we'll see how it goes. Right guys, okay, so we're going to get that a little bit of a clean up and what have you, and we'll see. In fact, I'm just going to put a bit more on here. Give it a clean up and we'll get back to you. ain't coming off again. Right guys, so all we're going to do with these stud bolts here, I'm just going to make sure that they're tight before we put the other plate on top of that. Some of these are a wee bit loose, just need to be tightened up. That's enough. Needs to be just slightly tighter than that. Use that between there. It's slipping a bit, but they're kind of really tight. I could have put a blob of weld on them, but to be honest with you, it might interfere with this plate here that's going to be going down flush to that, so don't really want to damage that. Don't want to damage the bearing either. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our air hose now, and we're just going to get out a wee blast just in case there's any spatter.
No.
Right guys, so we'll just clean this out. Just a wee squirt in here, just in case we've got any bits of welding spatter in the bearing. So make sure. Sure that this is all cleaned up, and okay. It's got some brake cleaners on. I'm just going to put that in there as well, and then we'll give it another blast out with the air. We're gonna fill this with grease as well in here. Just put that in there, and we'll spoon the thing in. Just gonna get that filled with grease. And before we get this end plate on there, I'll take that. Watch his fingers, because that's still a wee bit sharp, some of the edges on that. Actually at the moment the bearing's pretty dry with the because I had to clean it, all the cleaning that we had to do, so I'm just going to get some grease in here. Even I think I'm going to get a wee brush as well and brush the grease in there. Oh. And just got a wee small painting brush. I'm going to try and get as much grease into that bearing and keep rolling it around a wee bit, just so that protects it and it's not rolling on just on dry stuff. It's actually okay and it's pretty free and whatever, but we need to get as much, keep pushing the grease into that bearing, and it'll just protect it. It'll last longer. So once we've done this, we'll get back to you when we put in the end plate on. Right guys, so as you can see we've got this plate on. I actually put a blob of weld on each of these studs to stop them from ever coming out again, but we needed to do a lot of grinding around there to get this plate on, get the plate on properly, but that's fine. So that's on. We've well greased it up as well. So what we'll do now, we'll put the hub on, and kind of like that. We've actually got, if I'm not slightly, probably all the way. In fact, this is coming off with it. Okay. Probably the backing plate that probably the backing plate is that's it. It's more like it. Yeah, that's more like it. Just going to give that a little tap down. There, maybe use that bolster as well, just to. Seems to be okay. Backing plates down here is not touching either. So we'll get the wheel on. Right guys, so we're just going to get the wheel on, get the nuts on, and that's this side. That's this side done. And then we shall start the other side. Now, we don't need to show you the other side. So that'll be it for this part of the video. And we'll get back to you in the other parts. Thanks guys, bye.